afternoon, welcome aboard this Gatwick Express service non-stop to London Victoria. These are the exact same trains used on the Heathrow Express. Legroom is just as good as the Heathrow Express and the LNER Azuma combined. It's pitch black.
Welcome aboard this service to London Victoria. The next station is London Victoria.
Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue à bord du Gatwick Express en direction de Londres Victoria.
Señoras y señores, bienvenidos a bordo del Gatwick Express destino Londres Victoria.
Signore e signori, benvenuti a bordo del Gatwick Express diretto a London Victoria.
Please keep all personal belongings with you at all times. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it to a member of staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016.
Hawley.
See it, say it, sorted.
You must wear a face mask on your journey unless you are exempt. Always follow the latest government advice when travelling.
Yeah, last time I went on a Gatwick Express Class 387 was in 2018, when they swapped out a 7 Class 377 to a Gatwick Express Class 387 due to technical difficulties, apparently. I always feel like I forget things, such as my hairbrush, which I've now left at home.
Good evening once again, welcome aboard this 2039 Gatwick Express service, non-stop to London Victoria. Scheduled time arrival into London Victoria will be 21:13.
30 to 35 minutes on the Gatwick Express isn't too bad at all.
Through the whole train, there are passengers on board that do still need purchase tickets and require any other information, please stop me. I'll be able to help.
Never mind,
The 12 coaches throughout the train, there are areas of first class. First class areas can be identified with stickers on doors, windows and also white colours on the headrest. First class areas, so first class ticket holders.
thankfully I got my hairbrush.
So once again, London Victoria, but the only station stop, scheduled time arrival 21:30.
See, I don't think you can use a bank card south of Gatwick Airport down to Brighton or anywhere like that. Horsham or Worthing, where my great-grandmother lived till 2015. It was actually East Worthing. Over there is Salford's. Thankfully I didn't forget my hairbrush. It would have been terrible had I forgotten it and left it at home like I thought. Thankfully I didn't. I checked my bag just now. Thankfully I didn't leave my hairbrush at home. Gatwick Express is usually empty because not everyone can afford it, by the way. Also because the time is about 8:40 something at the moment, 8:40 something British Summer Time or 9:40 something Coordinated Universal Time. Must have passed Oswald. I don't always like travelling at night because it's kind of hard to tell exactly where you are. Yeah, over there's Oswald. I don't mind if it's on a flight, regardless of how long that flight may be, such as London to Addis Ababa, which is 7 hours and 45 minutes southbound, or 8 hours 15 minutes northbound. to Tokyo is now over 15 hours thanks to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and Japan Airlines now avoiding Russian airspace. Alongside many other airlines, those airlines are now choosing to avoid Russia, and Russian airlines are now suspending international flights except for those flights to Minsk, Belarus. Must have passed Red Hill by now. All countries in the European Union, apart from Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, as well as Canada and United States, have closed their airspace to Russian flights. Must have passed most of them. I went to Gatwick Airport on a southern service bound for Eastbourne. I do love the style of this interior. There's most of them. When Gatwick Express was suspended, some of Gatwick Express trains were used on Great Northern and GWR services. Primarily London King's Cross to King's Lynn and London Paddington to Didcot Parkway on Great Northern and GWR respectively. I think we're in a tunnel. If I was to get to Amsterdam, I'm not sure on whether I'd take the boat, the train or the plane. Probably be a Eurostar non-stop to Brussels or to Amsterdam via Brussels, or the boat I'd have to catch the Greater Anglia to Harwich International, then this ferry all the way from Harwich to the Dutch coastline. I think with plane it's very simple. British Airways or KLM from Heathrow or City airports, or maybe EasyJet from Gatwick as well. I went to Paris in 2013 on a school trip and we took the Eurostar. In 2017 I went to Belgium, but it was by coach. First it was the ferry from Dover to Calais before driving or is it Calais, before driving across France and then entering Belgium. That's when I first knew about time zone changes. We're now overtaking southern services from Reigate to London Victoria. I am too tempted to get the Class 377, 379 and 387 enhancement pack from Armstrong Powerhouse for Train Simulator. Now passing through Coulson South, I believe. I already have 4 Armstrong Powerhouse packs for Train Simulator. The Class 700 enhancement pack, Class 800, 803 enhancement pack, the Class 390 Sand Pack and the Class 91/Mark IV Carriages Enhancement Pack. Also tempted to get other enhancement packs such as the Class 86 and also the Class 350, Class 365. class 444 and 450. If someone does come past to check tickets, I'll probably stop recording as we now pass through Purley. I also saw some signs at Gatwick Airport saying that train companies, something about free travel to those affected by the war in Ukraine. Purley Oaks. Also, when Gatwick Express was suspended, Southern operated 2 trains per hour to Brighton. Between London Victoria and Brighton, those trains called at East Croydon, Gatwick Airport, Haywards Heath and Brighton. Never got to travel on it. 11th of February was when internet in my house was taking a break, so I was like, why not go to Brighton to see the beach. My auntie no longer lives in Brighton, she now lives in New York City. South Croydon. And New York City is 5 hours behind UK time. If it's 8:45 around here in UK, 8:45 PM, it'd probably be 3:45 PM over in New York City. Not too bad here on the Gatwick Express. Slowing down as we approach East Croydon, but we don't stop here. I think only on long distance train operators in the UK are seat reservations are mandatory, such as for example with LNER, Avanti, West Coast, Hull Trains, Lumo, Grand Central, Transpennine Express and GWR. Hello East Croydon. Goodbye, East Croydon. Train services in the UK do they don't always check your train tickets. I mean they usually check your tickets if you're travelling with LNER, for example. So if I had only an e-ticket, then I would probably have to stop recording, and then once my e-ticket was scanned I could continue recording. For example, when I was returning home from Leeds, I had to get my e-ticket out from Seatfrog, which I used to upgrade to first class with LNER. And then Then I also had to show my original ticket, which was a paper ticket. So when upgrading with Seatfrog, you have to have your original ticket just in case. Just in case they ask for it. We're now passing through Selhurst. And that is why I prefer having train tickets collected from the station. All you'll need is a booking reference and the credit card you use to buy those tickets with. Thank you, NHS. We're now passing through Thornton Heath. LNER operates about, thankfully they still use the Intercity 225 to York and Leeds. There's Thornton Heath. One train per 2 hours to York, calling at Stevenage, Peterborough, Grantham, Newark, Northgate, Retford, Doncaster and York. One train per 2 hours to Lincoln, calling at Stevenage, Peterborough, Grantham, Newark, Northgate and Lincoln. 2 trains per hour to Leeds. First train calls at Peterborough, Doncaster, Wakefield, Westgate and Leeds. The other one calls at Stevenage, Grantham, Doncaster, Wakefield, Westgate and Leeds. 2 trains per hour to Edinburgh. The first train calls at York, Darlington, Newcastle, Berwick upon Tweed and Edinburgh. Second train calls at Peterborough, Newark, Northgate, Doncaster, York, Northallerton, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle, Alnmouth and Edinburgh. I think most trains call alternatively at Northallerton and Alnmouth. 6 trains per day to Harrogate, calling at Stevenage, Grantham, Doncaster, Wakefield, Westgate, Leeds, Horsforth and Harrogate. Norbury. 2 trains per day to Bradford Forster Square, calling at Stevenage, Grantham, Retford, Doncaster, Wakefield, Westgate, Leeds, Shipley and Bradford Forster Square. But Retford is only served by the northbound trains, and one of the 2 southbound trains runs non-stop from Wakefield Westgate down to London King's Cross. 1 train per day to Skipton, calling at Peterborough, Newark, Northgate, Doncaster, Wakefield, Westgate, Leeds, Shipley, Cayley and Skipton. I think Cayley is only served in the southbound direction from Skipton towards London King's Cross. 1 train per day to Hull, calling at Peterborough, Grantham, Newark, Northgate, Doncaster, Selby, Brough and Hull. Peterborough is only served by the northbound train. 1 train per day to Sunderland, calling at Peterborough, York. This is Streatham Common when I'm passing through. As I was saying, 1 train per day to Sunderland, calling at Peterborough, York, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle and Sunderland. But only the southbound train calls at Peterborough. 1 train per day to Middlesbrough, calling at York, Thornaby and Middlesbrough. 3 trains per day to Aberdeen, calling at York, Darlington, Newcastle, Berwick upon Tweed, Edinburgh, Haymarket, Inverkeithing, Kirkcaldy, Lurkers, Dundee, Arbroath, Montrose, Stonehaven and Aberdeen. 1 southbound service also calls at Dunbar, Doncaster, Peterborough and Stevenage. 1 train per day to Inverness, calling at York, Darlington, Newcastle, Berwick upon Tweed, Edinburgh, Haymarket, Falkirk, Grahamston, Stirling, Gleneagles, Perth, Petlochry, Kingussie, Aviemore and Inverness. Only the northbound train calls at Berwick upon Tweed. 1 train per day to Stirling, calling at York, Darlington, Newcastle, Berwick upon Tweed, Edinburgh, Haymarket, Falkirk, Grahamston and Stirling. 1 train per day to Glasgow Central, calling at Peterborough, Newark, Northgate, Doncaster, York, Northallerton, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle, Alnmouth, Edinburgh, Haymarket, Motherwell and Glasgow Central. I think only the northbound train calls it Northampton, or is it the southbound train? I'm not too sure, by the way. One train per day from Leeds to Aberdeen, calling at York, Northallerton, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle, Morpeth, Alnmouth, Berwick-upon-Tweed, Dunbar, Edinburgh. We're now passing through Balham. As I was saying, Edinburgh, Haymarket, Inverkeithing, Kirkcaldy, Lurkas, Dundee, Arbroath, Montrose, Stonehaven and Aberdeen. Northallerton and Alnmouth are only served by the southbound train. I think so, apparently. We're now passing through Wandsworth Common. Usually empty compared to the Heathrow Express, which was packed when I went. Lumo has about 5 or 4 trains per day to Edinburgh from London King's Cross, calling at Newcastle, Morpeth and Edinburgh. Some trains may also call at Stevenage, but Lumo does not have rights to transport passengers only between London King's Cross and Stevenage. Hull trains about 7 trains per day to Hull, calling at Grantham, Retford, Doncaster, Selby, Howden, Brough and Hull. During pre-pandemic, only a few trains would call at Stevenage, but Hull trains would not allow these passengers to travel between London King's Cross and Stevenage. Grand Central about 5 trains per day on Mondays to Saturdays, or 4 trains per day on Sundays to Sunderland, calling at York, Thirsk, Northallerton, Eaglescliffe, Hartlepool and Sunderland. About 5 or 4 trains per day to Bradford Interchange, calling at Doncaster, Pontefract, Monkhill, Wakefield, Kirkgate, Murfield, Brighouse, Halifax, Lowmore and Bradford Interchange. Most trains on Mondays to Fridays would also call at Pontefract, Monkhill, and very few on Saturdays, but none on Sundays. I think we're now coming to a stop in the Clapham Junction area. Could be due to the train in front of us, I think. I travelled on one of these Class 387 trains one day with Thameslink. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think we're now speeding up as we pass through Clapham Junction. And over there is the South Western Railway service going somewhere. Could be Chessington South, could be Shepperton. Shepperton does not accept Oyster or contactless, by the way. Could also be Woking, Guildford, Dorking, or Strawberry Hill. When Crossrail opens, I will do full journeys on Crossrail, whether it's from Abbey Wood to Heathrow Airport or Shenfield to Reading. Heathrow Terminal 4 is supposed to reopen in about June or July this year, hopefully. And over there is Canary Wharf. And there's Queenstown Road, Battersea on the South Western Railway network. Not too far from London Victoria now, are we, as we approach Battersea Park. London Overground only diverts its Clapham Junction services to Battersea Park when there are planned engineering works between Wandsworth Road and Clapham Junction. This is Battersea Park. We overtake a slower southern train. We'll also see a couple of southeastern trains. I think the only good southeastern train service for me will be the high-speed service from St Pancras, which I only did back in 2015 when I went to Canterbury West. Over there is a Gatwick Express service heading to the depot. We're now crossing the River Thames as we approach Victoria. Now there is a southeastern service to Dartford or Orpington.
We are now approaching London Victoria.
To Dartford.
Our final destination. Thank you for travelling with us. Please remember to take all your belongings with you when you leave the train. We hope you had a pleasant journey and thank you for travelling on the Gatwick Express.
Mesdames et messieurs, nous allons arriver à Londres Victoria, terminus de ce train. Nous espérons que vous avez fait bon voyage et vous remercions d'avoir voyagé avec le Gatwick Express. Señoras y señores, estamos llegando a London Victoria, fin del trayecto. Esperamos que hayan tenido un buen viaje y les agradecemos que hayan elegido Gatwick Express.
Signore e signori, siamo in arrivo alla stazione di London Victoria. Questo treno termina a London Victoria. Ci auguriamo che il viaggio sia stato di vostro gradimento e vi ringraziamo per aver scelto Gatwick Express.
Change here for London Underground services and Southeastern services.
Specifically the Circle District and Victoria lines and Southeastern services to Bromley South, Orpington, Dartford, Gravesend, Gillingham, Rainham, Faversham, Ramsgate and Dover. We're just waiting for a clear platform, an empty platform to enter into. This is the southern service to Reigate. Time to get ready. I think that Northern should operate services from Doncaster to Bradford Interchange and York to Sunderland, but only when Grand Central doesn't. Or when Grand Central services to and from Bradford Interchange do not call at Pontefract Monkhill. Last time I also travelled with Southeastern to Hastings before returning home with Southern. Doors are opening on the left hand side here at London Victoria, our final stop. Yes? Yes. Yes.
Thought so. I'm autistic and you remind me of that boy Harvey.
There's also this train guy called Francis on TikTok.
Yeah. No, actually, no. You know when you're autistic, you can just tell the age.
Okay.
Actually, quite a nice thing. And I would love to be with them. I would write.
Okay. I'll just open the door.
But honestly, they're incredible.
Yeah, this is it. Here at London Victoria.
Yes, London's a city. Are you Asperger's as well then?
No.
Oh, classic.
The London Victoria, end of the line. It's now 9:13 PM. Thank you, NHS. This is it, end of the line. As always, we will see you next time. Goodbye.